Hi everybody, how y'all doing? This is probably not the best time that I've chosen to actually do this video. I'm sorry, I'm doing some mending here, but and there's kids running around. But I thought I could answer these quicker by going on to video than trying to type anything back. And these were good ones that came up. So one of them was about progressive revelation, and that they felt that due to the fact that it had so been well proven, how could I possibly no longer see that as the truth? Okay, well, to me, and I've talked about this part of it before, that as soon as I no longer believed in one particular manifestations, that they all were called into question for me. Okay, that notwithstanding, just looking at it from this point of view I'm about to say, it might give you sort of a window to understand maybe part of why, to me, it seemed not a plausible answer or reason or whatever you want to call it. So, you remember that the description is much like that, humanity is like a child growing at different rates, and that humanity has been at these different levels of, sophistication of what have you over time, and that as each manifestation comes, right, that the message will change as far as social and cultural ideas and stuff, but that, the main love of God and other certain tenets would always be the same and therefore recognizable, and that those social laws, were not to be troubled over, that they were not like, not that they weren't as important, but that they weren't markers of what made the faith of whatever era that was. Well, I sort of think of, I understand as a parent that, rules of one nature will be appropriate for a certain age, and that they won't be for another. Obviously, I'm not going to tie the shoes of my teenager, but I'm happy to tie the shoes of my toddler, right? But to me, what it smacks of is more kind of like, and I don't mean it in this weird kind of way, but that to me it almost makes it sound as if it means God's imperfection, that not really so much denoting society's capability to receive message at that time, but rather more instead, like, no, scratch that, I didn't mean that. It wasn't that important to me. Like a perfect being, they would never get it wrong. Now, we could get it wrong, I'm not saying that every word in the Bible is perfect, because, yeah, I'm not saying that at all. But I don't think the manner and character would change so dramatically from one to the other to be so much so almost completely unrecognizable. And what I mean by that, blah, blah, is that, how can I say, the, he's tickling me. I know it's bath time, but there's only one bathroom in our house, and he's waiting for his brother to get out of the go to the bath. Okay, we have to wait. And I'm really sorry to explain that to you, but I'm totally distracted. Okay, so I hope I can use this anyways. Like, for instance, to have the understanding of reincarnation as being something that's incredibly definitive, to understand the mind of God, and then to have it be, oh, scissors are for me, not for you. I'll give you peace spare though. I'm sorry. To have that be completely the opposite at another time, it seems less than congruent. And I understand that people dismiss it not because, you know, they don't recognize the stark difference, but because they just see it all along as steps, okay? So I recognize that. But if you think of it as sort of the changing face of God, it becomes rather odd to me. And I know that, you know, some people's explanation might sound something like, well, yeah, it changed because at different ages of society, blah, 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 that, you know, we were able to accept, you know, whatever explanation that we could at that time. And I do understand that, and I very much recognize that as being a tenet in Judaism that I grew up with as far as how prophets were. But that never meant that God's character changed. Never. And I know that people are going to argue with me about that, and I'll just tell you to go over to YusefAlTahir, or actually no, there's more of them over on John the Hutler of the documentary Hypothesis if you want to see some of that, because that is where you would see that, and he has books where he's read that he can show why part of that might have been so. So, you know, if you give me that argument, that's what I'd say, that's all. And I think I even have some of those mirrored here on this channel. I'm trying to remember because they were so important to me. But yeah, that never meant that his face changed, because if if he's perfect and, you know, infinite and all that, then yeah, it wouldn't be changing in that way. And I can't imagine, like, if you had a parent who, there's a difference between rules changing for a child because they're growing in a different way, as compared to the complete idea behind a rule that a parent gives. Okay, so I hope I'm not talking too long on this one because I got distracted. But what I mean by that is that the rule that a parent would give would generally follow the same line of thinking. Okay, they usually would not take a dramatic turn, so much so to the fact that it would be unrecognizable as having come from the same parent regarding certain things from time to time. And so, because of that, I can't say that that would be a reflection of God at all. That is one of the reasons to me why it does not fit together tightly like a puzzle. You know, no, don't have pork. It doesn't matter. No, don't have pork. It's okay. That's too schizophrenic to me. That's just like, I can't, I'm not going to hold on to that as like, that wasn't the reason why I left Baha'i faith. I'm just giving you sort of an example. Because all of those things notwithstanding, I think that they show a great deal of distinct obedience and desire to please God, that a person would take those laws of kashrut or halal and do those. And as a Baha'i even too, you know, when you don't drink, okay, or when you do your fast, okay. But it changes the face of God. And what I would liken it to, and I hope this is the last thing I say because I don't want to go too much longer. I'm really sorry if this is too long. You know, if you look at the differences of a authoritarian parent, authoritative parents, and things like that, you know, they'll do things differently for the same subject matter, and it'll come out differently with a different outcome, because that's that kind of parenting style. Well, that's what I see as being changed. That the parenting style of our universal parent, if you want to call them that, and yes, that is a Urantia term, so I'm sorry, but that would not change. And I know that people will argue with me about the anthropomorphication of God that's described in you know, Old Testament Bible stuff, where, you know, God angers and God's jealous or things like that. Well, I have other ways that I describe and explain that don't have to do with his face changing. So I hope that that answers that. I hope I was clear on 6 things. I don't know, I'll have to re-listen to this. And I thank you very much for asking, and I look forward to hearing back from you, and I wish you bright blessings of peace. Take care.